colonial times. That would be the 18th to 19th century. And what we've got here is over the fire, we've got a pot of soup going. In the soup, we've got vegetable soup. My secret ingredient is molasses, so there's a lot of molasses in there, makes it nice and sweet. You can replicate this over the stove, but you're never going to get the same flavor because it's over the fire, and that gives it that nice wood flavor. Next to it, we've got a tin kitchen. It's also called a reflector oven. And people have a hard time believing that you can actually cook a full-size turkey or chicken in there in the same amount of time as it would in your oven at home. So that's about a 7-pound chicken. It's been on about 2.5 hours. It's got about another hour or so to go before it's complete. You can also put a nice side of beef in there, layer the bottom of that reflector oven with vegetables, have them roasting along with the drippings of the meat on there. Fantastic. It makes for a great meal. The tin kitchen, what happens is if you've ever stood in front of a fire, you could feel the heat on your legs. That heat goes into that reflector oven and hits the back and reflects back towards the front. It does cook all the way through, but it's also on a spit, so every 15 minutes or so, I turn it and make it so it's evenly cooked all the way around. Right here, in this Dutch oven, this gets preheat, they call them Dutch ovens. Just like your oven at home, you can cook in this. You can make just about anything, biscuits, bread, and I've got a pumpkin pie in here right now.
Oh, wow.
And there it is. It takes about between 60 to 70 minutes to cook a pie in here, a custard pie like this. What you do is you take the cast iron and you put it over the fire, and that's how you preheat it. So at home, you'll just turn the knob to 375 here. I'll place this on the fire until it's preheated. And before I put anything in there, to determine whether it's ready for food or not, I'll take my fist, place it in the middle of the Dutch oven, and if I can make a count of 5, that tells me it's about 375 degrees. That's about the right temperature you want to put a pie in there. So it's preheated over the fire. You put it in here like this. You throw some coals on the bottom, coals on the top. Makes your Dutch oven nice and hot. So
it's like a landlubber's. I'll edit this. I'm not worried about. I'm thinking of a lobster. What do they call those things? We heat up the stones on the beach.
What's nice about the Dutch ovens are they're made out of cast iron, so it radiates heat. So it makes it nice and even. The heat's nice and even, so it always radiates heat. I don't have any coals on the top right now because it's hot enough to where I don't have to put any coals on it. But as long as you keep your lid on, it's just like your oven at home. Keeps it nice and warm. A few more minutes and that pie will be ready. So
terrific.
And then over here I've got what we call a toe toaster. It's a very easy way to toast your bread. Normally you can handle it and just hold it over the fire, but I like to put it right there. And when one side is ready, you just go right to it and flip it with your foot. Hence the word toe toaster. So if you don't mind my toes on your toast, it's a great way to toast your bread. So that's about it for now. This is actually another rotisserie that I have here. I'm using it to hang all my utensils. But normally, I can take this, bang it into the ground until it's as high as I want, and this turns into a rotisserie as well. So a nice side of beef in here. And what's nice about it is if you want your beef rare, you just start cutting it off the...
I like that idea.
So it's a great idea as well.
You could just spend your whole day. Did they have ice cold beer back in those days?
Well, it wasn't ice cold, but they did have beer. As a matter of fact, they'd serve it to their children. So it was just regularly, consumed by all the family members.
Well,
so they did consume it, and children did as well. Made them sleep better at night.
I think all these special medications and drugs to try to calm kids down, maybe beer would be the better thing.
Well, how about, I agree. But also, I think that kids were exhausted back then. They had their mind on chores and things. They were up at 4 o'clock in the morning so they can have breakfast at 6 o'clock. You'd have to start your fires, and I cook with coals more than I do flame. So if you notice, my chicken's being cooked with just the heat, my pie's being cooked with the coals, and well, it's over the fire, but I'm not cooking with flame.
Now, where did you learn how to do this? Girl Scout camp?
I've been, my family's from Portugal, and I was there when I was 15, and I learned from my grandmother who cooked like this even in 1980, and I learned from her, just got the fascination that way, and about 8 years ago I started working up at a facility in Bristol that teaches fireside cooking, and it's just escalated from there. So my son's here doing wooden clockwork movements, and he belongs to the Plymouth Historical Society, so we decided this year to extend the Plymouth Historical Society with fireside cooking, and it's been a great hit. I'm actually surprised at how many people are amazed at it.
Now, if somebody wanted to learn more about your historical society or get involved or join, how would they go about that?
Oh, well, this is the Plymouth Historical Society. I believe they meet the last Saturday of every month here in Plymouth. And you want to speak to Mr. Matt Malley. And Matt is inside somewhere. He'll be more than happy to give you his contact information. My son is 15, and he's one of the youngest members right now. But we're hoping that we can actually bring in more young children and start teaching them a little bit about this. You know, a couple of years ago when we had no power, the joke was come to my house because there'll always be hot food there. So, you know, it's important to really learn how to go back into time and learn these things.
A lot of people love to barbecue, and this is just another way to barbecue. It's the traditional way to barbecue.
It is, correct, and it's not as hard as it looks. It really isn't. So once you get the knack of it, you might burn a couple of things here and there the first time, but once you get the knack of it, it's actually quite easy to do.
Well, yeah. And your name?
My name is Fern, Vaughn, and like